This is Algae Rhythm. Welcome to the Serververse. What up, Brandos?
Welcome back.
Oh, it's time. Come back. It is time, Brian, my good friend. We're going to the Space Jam. All right.
Yeah, not really. A Space Jam, not the Space Jam.
Yeah, this was more like the Space Turd. Mm-hmm. The Space Turd, but...
Oh, so fucking disappointing.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Welcome in, randos, to the Fandom at Random podcast. Again, I am Ed. That is Brian. And we are back again with more fandom-related goodness.
Mm-hmm. Actually, technically, non-goodness this time.
Non-goodness, not goodness. So we've got a Fandom Failures today. It's been a little while since we've done one of these.
Yep.
But, man...
Last one was New Mutants. Let's see if Space Jam: A New Legacy can beat it out for worst movie we've seen since we started this podcast.
Yeah, so it's still a random review, so we're still kind of quasi-reviewing this, but if it's a Fandom Failure, we're more so shitting on it.
You know what to expect.
Yeah, so I mean, it's no surprise. So right off the bat, and actually I'm getting ahead of myself again. So a while back, go back and listen, but we also had a Fandom Fighters episode, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I ended up losing it. Brian, have you figured out my punishment yet?
I think so. Although, I guess you could call it a non-punishment. Because I was going to make you, shave your pubes or your hair, something. Either, or wear a mustache of pubes.
I'm like a bald eagle down there. That's not even, I'm ahead of the game.
All right. So, some pubes on your face. Someone's pube. No.
That's a gorilla mask.
But I figured we should help people out in the process of punishing you.
Okay.
So, the only thing getting punished really should be your wallet. I'm thinking maybe... So, I am huge on, I follow a lot of disabled kids and stuff like that. And one of the things that would kill me the most is to be able to not play video games. That would literally rip my heart out.
Absolutely.
And anytime I see it... One of the things that was amazing was Xbox creating that controller for people who can play it.
Yeah.
There's a charity called the Able Gamers Charity, and you can decide how much you want to donate, but you just have to donate some amount to that charity.
I can do that. That's a good, that's not even a punishment.
No.
That's kind of a reward.
Like I said, it's a punishment to your wallet, but a reward to the other people. So,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so I will be donating to the Able Gamers charity?
Able Gamers Charity.
I like it. Okay.
And it's a good one, too. It's not like fucking FEMA or the animal charities that all steal your bullshit. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Excellent. So yeah, randos, if you hadn't heard that, go back, check out our Fandom Fighters episode. We'll have another one on the horizon soon, and we'll have to see who wins, who loses, but I like that. That was a good one, Brian. But we are going to get right into our Fandom Failure today. Brian, before we do, any news you want to talk about, or are we getting right into this?
No, I mean, some good horror news, but we can talk about that next week.
All right, let's go. Yeah. Fandom Failure time.
What's up, Doc? What's up?
Again, Dave Ring with the excellent drop.
Coming with the drops.
I told him, I said, make something glitchy sound like it's failing, and he came up with that, and I was like, man, I love it. That's perfect.
Hit it right on the head.
So today's Fandom Failure is Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Don't know who would want this legacy, but it's a legacy.
It is a legacy. It is a legacy. There will be spoilers, rando. So if you have not seen this movie yet, first, congratulations.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Don't watch this film, especially if you hold the original film near and dear to your heart.
Right.
I will say if you have young children, especially young children that are into basketball or into anything within...
if they're into basketball, they won't like this movie.
If they're into NBA Jam, then yeah. They may like it. You know, my son, who's 5 years old, he did enjoy it. So, whatever. I guess there's an audience for anything.
Yeah.
But
Kids
this is
are
no,
easy to please.
we'll get right into it. This is no OG Space Jam.
No. It had none of the magic, none of the heart, or shit. It didn't even have the OG like Looney Tunes characters, because they were there, but they just weren't the same.
Yeah, they were still the Looney Tunes, and I know what you're saying though.
The animation was off. It just felt all wrong.
So the vibe I got off of this, so again, it starts out with, LeBron James, who this argument has now been going on, especially the past couple years. Is LeBron the new Michael Jordan?
No.
And I'm with you, especially like some of the older generation, or the people that grew up watching Michael Jordan. And I don't know, that's a whole different debate.
It
like
is.
The basketball fandom and who is better, who's going to have the better legacy.
Even I know. I'm not a sports guy, but even I know. You look back at those track records, you know who's going to be the best.
So the movie kicks off with, again, LeBron James and his quasi-fictional family. So they came in and they got, I don't know why they didn't just have his actual family.
Yeah.
Play their roles in this, but
it might have actually come off as real, or it's as close to real as LeBron can get.
And you can't even throw out the fact that, they're not established actors. It's pretty apparent neither is LeBron.
No, except for when he gets poked in the eye. Then he's actually pretty good.
Oh
at
yeah,
acting.
on the court, like in front of the refs, that man can act.
Because even
give
I
that man
seen
an
that
Oscar.
shit, and it looked like it actually hurt. Until you watch hockey players get hurt, and you're like, you pussy.
But the gist of the beginning of this film is it's LeBron's sons, and it starts out, you get to see young LeBron as well, kind of like they did in the original Space Jam when you see young Michael Jordan. And like I don't know, man, the Michael Jordan, they did a much better job.
Yeah.
I felt like kind of like the backstory, building him up before he got sucked into into Looney Tunesville. And with LeBron, it was just a very quick, like, young kid. He gets a Game Boy with the Bugs Bunny game, and then
like 2 seconds.
and then the coach is like, "Bitch, what is that?"
What's this video game bullshit?
He's like, "Boy, you're a ball player."
It's like, first of all, it's a portable. Calm the fuck down. He ain't building a 95 Microsoft Windows setup to play Doom in his bedroom.
Yeah, and you could tell early on that they're trying to hammer home the fact that, LeBron, single mother, who's trying to care for him, and his coach is like, you're the best ball player I've ever coached. You have a future, but not if you don't focus, not if you don't put 100% effort into basketball.
So cliche 1 out of 1,033 in this movie.
Yes. So then it ends up, current day LeBron in his super duper mansion and his young kids, and they kind of make LeBron out to be the dickhead kind of hardo dad that, you're gonna, my dreams are now your dreams.
Yeah, I thought we were over that in this day and age. Like, it didn't hit home.
Like, I was hoping to have, like, just fun, like happy LeBron, and no, I mean, he came off as kind of a dick.
And never came on from being a dick. Like, we'll get
so,
into it, but they didn't save it.
Yeah, so his son Dom is an aspiring video game creator who
literally plagiarizes
who has apparently never heard of NBA Jam.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
It looked like a cool game. Like, if that was a reboot of NBA Jams that I could play on my phone, I'd be fucking ecstatic. But,
yeah, so
of course it wasn't.
So yeah, he's building the game, and he really doesn't even want to show LeBron, because LeBron just wants him to focus on basketball, yada yada.
Yeah.
And LeBron's wife's like, dude, like, stop being a dick and be a dad. So he ends up bringing him to the WB studios.
Yeah.
And you get to see that pitch of, they're trying to pretty much scan LeBron and put his likeness in all these different movies. And it was just kind of goofy. It's showing him as like Mr. Freeze against Batman.
So problem number 1, like real problem number 1, it screams cash grab, WB promotion right off the bat.
That's the whole movie.
Yeah, there is no doubt in your mind from here on out that this movie is going to be a promotional. It's worse than The Wizard and fucking Nintendo.
Yeah.
It promotes WB.
California.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you know from right then on, that's what it's going to be. Cash grab.
I mean, it's Ready Player One. Mm-hmm. This movie is Ready Player One, the film, with just all of the WB properties.
Yeah. Oh, look at all the properties we have.
Yeah.
We're awesome.
Yeah, and we'll get into that, but it's like, so the whole reason LeBron ends up even dragging his son here and going to all this movie bullshit is because the algorithm, played by Don Cheadle, who's actually a really good actor.
Yeah. And even he couldn't save this shit.
I felt for him in this, man. Like, at least, like, he had some charisma. And I don't know if Rando's...
In a movie
if you've seen the movie, I was channeling Algae Rhythm in our intro here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was not good. And his whole plot line... So, again, he's an AI within the serververse.
Yeah.
And his whole fucking plot is to get LeBron James to, like, combine LeBron's followers with all of his ability, and then he'll become, like, the new king shit.
Yeah.
Instead of King LeBron. And
which, spoiler alert, I'm going to jump ahead real quick. If you can kidnap 1 million people and put them into the serververse, why wouldn't you just kidnap the world and make them obey you if you want all that power? Like,
it made no sense.
Movie would have just ended right there.
Yeah, you know? that whole like, you know, I need LeBron, I need this or that. That whole plot line made no sense.
No, not
especially
at all.
like you said, because he's pretty much a god.
Yeah.
Inside the serververse, and if he can suck people in, then I don't get any of that.
Yeah.
So, mention people getting sucked in. You know, LeBron and his kid, they have the fight. He's like, "No, Dom, you gotta play basketball."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, screw you, Dad." Gets sucked into the serververse, which immediately sets up, "Hey, we're going to a Space Jam."
All right.
And we don't even get a cool ass song like we did in the original Space
Dude,
Jam.
the music was terrible in this. I heard nothing that made it memorable for me.
And it sets up the premise of, so the algorithm, again, Algae Rhythm, as he likes to go by, to Ali G.
Ali G.
He takes Dom, LeBron's son, to set up his own basketball crew, and he's like, all right, I'm going to market this to all of LeBron's followers to boost my own popularity in the real world. Again, stupid plot.
And it's been done
plot.
a million times before anyway, so even if it wasn't a stupid plot, it's been done many times.
So he ends up banishing LeBron. Algae Rhythm mentions, he's like, all right, I'm going to send you to pretty much the shittiest place in the entire serververse.
Yeah.
And it's
the
Looney Tunes world. So he ends up crash landing there. All the Looney Tunes are gone. They ended up bailing to go to cooler worlds after Algae talked him into it.
Just an insult to the Looney Tunes, man.
And it's just Bugs Bunny. And this was one of the things that pissed me off too. Like when LeBron crashes there, and then you get animated LeBron.
Yeah.
What the hell's up with that?
I don't know. I couldn't explain that away, really.
Like, why couldn't they just have him? Because again, I keep hearkening back to the original Space Jam, but it's like you had to go and animate him. You couldn't.
No idea why they had to.
I mean, the only thing, like, maybe they were looking at his acting skills and they were like, all right, at least if we animate him,
we can put some emotion on that ugly grill of his.
Yeah. So I that was a puzzling choice.
So random. And I'm like, whoa, why did that happen? Did they explain why it happened? Did I miss that?
Pretty much, yeah. Wherever he goes, whatever world he goes to in the serververse, he kind of takes on that persona.
Okay.
And we see that when... So, Bugs is like, all right, you know, the Toons left. LeBron explains his plight, like, all right, you know, I've got a day to assemble a basketball team to beat Algae Rhythm. Bugs says, oh, shit, I can manipulate you to go and help me get my friends back.
So, eliminate the fact that all the Toons ditched World to go to just to throw a bunch of Easter eggs in there, and the movie still could have been what it was. It literally wouldn't have affected the movie at all, except for all the Easter eggs, right?
No, this was a boardroom. This was a boardroom of executives that were so out of touch with what people want to see in a film, what kids want to see in a film. Who was the target audience?
I don't know.
In this movie. And I keep hearing from a lot of people, like, because I already kind of ranted on this film after I watched it this past weekend, and I had a couple people like, oh, you're being too harsh on it. It's a kid's movie. Really, it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Then why are they put so much emphasis on these properties that aren't targeted towards kids? Like, Game of Thrones,
Mad Max,
yes. The Matrix,
anarchist rapists. But let's remove Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah. So
because he's a rapist, but not the Mad Max or Game of Thrones characters in the movie.
Yeah. So they were so out of touch with this film when they were creating it, and they go so far as to LeBron and Bugs team up to go through the serververse, and they're going to each one of these worlds, and it's literally like you said. It's a glorified WB Properties commercial.
Yeah. They just split. They made a pie or a chart. They said, okay, old fans of the regular Space Jam, new fans. And they made lists of what they could do to draw people in. And they didn't try to balance it. They just literally shit it out on screen. And that's what it ended up being.
Yeah, I think it was, what do kids like? Kids like video games. They like computers. They must love our properties. So let's, we don't have to pay for we own the properties. Let's fucking jam them all in this film.
Like, we even got 60s Batman theme song in there at one point.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. So they end up going all throughout the serververse, and they put the Looney Tunes, again, in all these properties, but in kind of like just shitty ways. Like, they had so many good properties that they could have expanded on and used in a better way, but all of them were these quick, like, goofy snapshots. Like, I was pumped, like, when they went to DC World.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And you have Daffy Duck pretending to be Superman, and then the actual Superman shows up with the Justice League. They don't say a single word.
Not at all.
They just up and bail. It's like...
He could have at least walked up to LeBron and was like, tell me, do you bleed?
Yeah, and... It killed me too because, again, all these amazing properties squandered, and I don't know. I'm going in circles here.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one joke. Like, I will mention, like, a bunch of the humor in this was god awful.
Almost all of it.
I don't know who was writing these jokes or these wannabe jokes, but. The one joke that got me to laugh was when they flew through Harry Potter, and then LeBron all of a sudden turned in with, like, the Hogwarts outfit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a Hufflepuff. I knew it. That got a laugh out of me.
I was kind of insulted because I don't know if you know this. Taylor made me take the official test, and I'm an official Hufflepuff.
All right, so yeah.
When I saw that, I'm like, no, you fucking are not.
Oh, it's one of your alma mater. I mean, you're...
Yeah, it was insulting to Hufflepuffs everywhere. He's not an artist or creative, and he doesn't love animals. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. That's just what I've been told about Hufflepuffs. So
yeah,
anyway,
again, all the references from WB shoehorned in.
I laughed at one joke, and I don't know if it was because I was so far gone from how bad the movie was, but we'll talk about it later. Yeah.
So they continue to head around the serververse, and again, in Marvin and the Martian's ship.
Yep.
And another thing that pissed me off, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but when LeBron finds the whiteboard and he pulls it out and he's writing down, like, the crew that he wants to assemble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this would be pretty cool. Like, if they had actually done that, and I understand it's Space Jam, they're harkening back to the original, it's got to be the Looney Tunes, but did it have to be all the Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have put Superman in there. You couldn't have put...
They went as far as making a whole new fucking Space Jam. Like, they were not going back to the original, period. So...
They made fun... They didn't really... Nothing from the original was really present in this film. And they actually kind of made fun of that.
A little
multiple
bit.
times.
Yeah.
Like, so Bugs is like, so you need us to have a high-stakes basketball game to win back... Oh, it sounds familiar, doesn't it?
This premise sounds familiar.
But they never blatantly
go
back and talk about, like, Michael and, like, what they went through. And there's little Easter eggs here and there, but nothing.
And there was one thing I'm like, you know what could save this movie? Bill Murray. And you know what
You
we
never
didn't
get him.
fucking get? Bill goddamn Murray.
You know what could have saved the Murray? Saved the Murray.
Saved the
Saved
Murray.
the movie. You know what could have saved the movie?
Not
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that could have. Yeah.
Michael Jordan. And it was just such a spit in the face moment. Like this film just sucked so bad as I'm watching it, and everything about it just sucks.
Like,
and then
what-
finally, towards the end of the film,
Yeah.
they mention it's like, oh, we got a superstar. Let's say, Michael Jordan, and halftime coming in with the smoke, and I'm finally like, oh shit, like Michael Jordan's actually gonna make a cameo.
Might
like
be getting
this
it.
could be a cool moment. It's fucking Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Killmonger.
And don't get me wrong, I love Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
he's a good actor.
Great. But in this movie, he is not Michael Jordan. And you gotta wonder if LeBron was like, no, this is my time to shine. We ain't taking that motherfucker in this movie, you know?
And again, we're
I
jumping
did
off-
laugh a little bit though. When Michael B. Jordan came out, like I said, I don't know if I was like messed up in the head from watching this movie or what, but I was like, heh, I see what you did there.
And I don't know, like, again, I mentioned in the jokes and some of the moments, but, going back to showing the Looney Tunes in some of these different universes and how they applied them, and, like, the whole, like, the Matrix scene
Yeah.
with Granny as Trinity, and then you bring in Speedy Gonzalez, like, jumping on the ladder, like, grabbing the bullets and dodging them, and
Yeah.
again, I'm mentioning, like, who is the target audience? Like, what kids watching this film are like, oh, the Matrix, cool.
I would like to think my kid would be, because I would have showed him all these great classic movies. But 99% of the people watching this, or the kids watching this, have no idea what was going on at that point.
There were a lot of moments that my son had no idea what was going on, and
Yeah.
I feel like they were supposed to be targeted at adults, but at the same time, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah. They went full kids movie, but were trying to draw the adults in that may have been watching it with their kids, and it didn't work.
Yeah, so we're at the point now where, Algie, he ends up taking LeBron's son, Dom, and starts creating his own super basketball team, which they're the Goon Squad.
Yeah.
And I had a huge issue with the Goon Squad in this film as well, because, you go back to the original
First
Space
of
Jam.
all, Don Cheadle is great, but he is no Danny DeVito. Let's
No.
just get that out there right away. Even Danny DeVito voicing a character was much better than Ali G in this movie.
to Ali G.
Yeah.
So they make the Goon Squad, and I don't know, man. It just felt like heartless. Like they showed the technology where Dom came up with, scanning other NBA and
Yeah.
WNBA players, and then combining different animals, spider, snake, all that shit,
Yeah.
and then messing with their stats and digitizing them into the video game that they're gonna play. But none of them had like any personalities. And if you go back and you look at like the original Space Jam, like the
Yeah.
Monstars, like all of those guys.
Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, like you got to see them out in the real world, and they're all like losing their minds and turning stupid, and it had like a lighthearted humor, but you also liked the characters before they turned into the Goon Squad too.
The
I guess.
Monstars.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Monstars, yeah.
Yeah, and they were just like, they were much more like likable villains.
Yeah.
And like the Goon Squad was just like, that's all they were. They were
Oh.
mindless goons.
Yes.
And like, when they first come out, I mean, the animation, some of the power sets are kind of cool.
Yeah,
But at
but
the same,
when you get to the actual playing basketball part, that shit takes you out of it so fast. You know what I mean? They went way over the top with effects. Of course, in the original, we had Looney Tunes, and they were using like, Pepe Le Pew was using his stink to kind of throw players off, and it was a little out there, but it was nothing like we saw in this.
yeah, so they end up, Algie ends up taking Dom's technology to scan people in, and now somehow that gives him the ability to any cell phone in the world.
Yeah.
He can just suck people into the serververse, which once again, why are you doing any of this?
Game's over. I actually can bring everyone into my universe. We're good. So bye, LeBron.
Yeah, it made no goddamn sense.
None of it. It was all fan service that didn't work with the fans. Like, It was a bunch of 60-year-old white dudes sitting in an office like, what do you think people like these days? You know?
WB properties.
WB properties, that's what. Because we've been hitting it out of the park lately.
So they end up starting this game, which is 100% more video game than actual basketball game.
Yes.
Which kind of bummed me out because, like, in the original, again, it was, some of the Monstars and you get the Looney Tunes. They've got some special abilities.
Yeah.
But it was a bit more grounded. This was like
Michael Jordan was teaching them actually how to play basketball.
Yeah.
Because you needed to play basketball in the original Space Jam. This was more like, all right, who can we upgrade? How can we upgrade them? I'm going to give you flame powers. You're going to be a robot. You're going to be a spider.
Yeah, minus Lola Bunny. She knows how to play basketball.
Yes.
And she's one of the cooler characters that outside of Space Jam, I don't think we ever saw her too much in Looney Tunes verse.
We didn't need to. We had everything we needed from the original Space.
So Google Lola Bunny Rule 34.
Launched a franchise all its own that you may not have heard of yet, but it's out there. Yeah. I will say, like, when I heard they were going to change Lola Bunny and the character, I was like, ugh, whatever. But if there was anything that was just okay about this movie, it was her. She was kind of cool, laid back, like you said, the suave character,
Also voiced by Zendaya.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, they brought in Zendaya to voice her.
I knew she sounded familiar.
And she's also became an Amazon, apparently. That whole, like, Wonder Woman scene.
Yeah.
Again, like, why are you shoehorning Wonder Woman into this?
Yeah. Like, that's not one of the properties you should be showing off. No. And then it just got worse when you got into the game itself.
Well, so the game starts, and again, Algae Rhythm brings in the audience. So, like, half of them are real-world people that are now cheering for the game. I would be scared shitless.
Yes.
Like, if I get sucked into my phone and I'm like, what is going on?
What the? Is that fucking Batman? What's Superman doing over here?
And like you just said, like, dude, it was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Like, the WB properties, like, that they had in the audience, it was so cringeworthy, like, just bad. It was like bad cosplayers all throughout, and there were multiple scenes, like, if you go back and watch, that they actually had, like, a lot of those people just on loop.
I saw that.
Like, they didn't even take the time to, like, fully record, like, unique scenes. They kept looping them over. Like, one of the ones I noticed, like you mentioned, like the Adam West style Batman.
Yeah.
They had him doing, like, the bat dance over and over and over again, like, in different scenes.
Yeah.
And, dude, it was so bad.
It was like,
they even had to go for the training day, like, King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Oh, my God.
And the King Kong going, oh.
I was like, they really just used training day. Like, they really did. But, yeah, it was like, what was it? Madden 19, where the graphics on the field were amazing. And then you look at the crowd, and they're all like cardboard cutouts. And you're like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, so the game starts. LeBron quickly realizes, like, oh, shit, this is video game rules.
Yeah.
This is not my forte. I probably shouldn't have been a shit dad and probably should have listened to what my son's actually interested in.
And can we actually just mention the whole playing the son against the father thing was just fucking horrible. I didn't buy it for a second. The decisions were stupid. And it was like you wanted to scream at both of them, like, just act like real people for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
And cliche again.
Super cliche. So they have their little, the first half is just like you mentioned, it's just visual porn.
Mm-hmm.
All the effects, the Goon Squad just owning the Toon Squad.
Yeah.
And, they're up like over 1,000 points or something like that.
It looked like something like a superhero crossover for the WB.
Yeah.
Which makes actual sense now that I say it out loud. Like Flash in Legends of Tomorrow crossing over for a minute.
Pretty much.
It's kind of like that. Yeah.
So it was not good.
No. But we had something that actually brought it to a level. We had the rap battle from Porky Pig.
That's coming after the half. So they have the break in the half. LeBron realizes like, oh shit, like I need to let people be themselves. It's a big revelation, you do you.
Holy shit, who would have thunk?
So he lets the Looney Tunes, guess what? He lets them be loony.
Oh,
and then shit starts going their way. And we already mentioned the Michael Jordan fake out, which sucked.
Yeah.
So they come back out and they have a Porky Pig rap battle.
I think this is where it was finally like
with
nail
all
in
of
the coffin.
with all of them dressed like 90s, that kind of hip hop whatever phase, which the Looney Tunes were in that phase, especially back in the early to mid 90s.
Yeah,
you go back, I remember like all the images, like Tweety Bird was like a big thing back then, like the baggy clothes and the glasses, and they harken back to that, and it was.
But without the original animation, it didn't look right.
We didn't even mention that too. Like that pissed me off too.
Yeah, we got Pixar animation, and then when it went back to regular animation, it was too bright, too new, too modern. It was weird. It felt off.
Yeah, they took all the tunes, and Al G said he was upgrading them.
Yeah.
And it was like 3D, like you said, almost Pixar, and it sucked. It looked like shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was not good. Like, all the nostalgia was instantly ripped away.
Yep.
I was like, wow, this is a bad... It was a bad decision amongst bad decisions in this entire
including
film.
just making this movie. Yeah.
But, yeah, so oh my God, the rap battle.
Yeah.
I'm sitting like... My son is watching it too, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's like kind of laughing and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, this is so cringeworthy.
Look away, son. Just look away.
And I'm just wondering, like, I'm seriously wondering, like, there is a boardroom of executives and other people that are greenlighting these ideas.
Yeah.
How does this happen? How do they say like, oh, this is what the kids want?
Not one person in the room, which I think only 6 people wrote this movie, so there wasn't a lot, if I'm not mistaken. Not one person was like,
I'd be shocked.
I don't know.
It seems
It
like
just doesn't-
600 people
Yeah.
wrote this movie, and they gave everybody like 3 minutes.
That's the problem.
They kept like going like this.
That's the issue. I looked it up. I'm like, okay, this had to have been a studio mistake where everyone cut this film to pieces, like 100 people, and 6 people wrote the movie. Which makes it even worse somehow. But not one of them was like, I don't know, this scene just feels really off. I know we've reached, but now we're doing a rap battle with Porky Pig. We're kind of jumping the shark here, guys.
Yeah, and again, the Looney Tunes, they start doing all the loony stuff, and again, I love the Looney Tunes. They've been around forever.
Yeah.
They're iconic, all of them, but like you said, a lot of it felt forced, a lot of
Very.
it felt out of place.
And LeBron still feels like a dick. Even though he had his redemption moment, he still just feels like a dickhead.
Oh yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna be loony. He does the face like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you're so loony now, LeBron. Whoa, wow.
Whoa, stop. There's too much looniness.
And then he does the classic LeBron move, which he does in the NBA all the time. When you're losing to somebody, he just recruits you.
Yeah.
And then he makes a super team.
Right.
So he's like, hey, son, I effed up. Come over to my team. We'll square up.
Yep.
So, and then you get to see Al G, like, all of a sudden Hulk out.
Yeah.
With, like,
everything's not going his way, so he just goes Super Saiyan real quick. Just real quick.
It's over 9,000!
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, when the CGI on him was so bad.
It was.
When all of that happened and he's all like just hulked out and he's like, oh, my rules, my game. And he like floats the ball back out and they lose those points again. And like, it was just so weird. So pretty much the end of this shitty movie is they realize, oh shit, Dom is like, we can win the game if we do the glitch. So that move, the crossover shot, it'll glitch the game. The problem is you lose the character that glitches, so LeBron's like, I'll do it, whatever.
And we all know LeBron ain't sacrificing himself.
No. If real life has taught us anything, he is sacrificing everybody else.
Not happening.
Because it's never LeBron's fault. Never LeBron's fault. So Bugs Bunny ends up intercepting the ball. that's supposed to go to LeBron. He does the move, ends up sacrificing himself.
Which, can we just say this slow-mo scene was so slow-mo. It could have cut out about 10 seconds sooner. But it was
when
like,
LeBron's trying to get it in?
yeah.
After?
And he's like, no. And you're like waiting for it to end and waiting for it to end, and it just doesn't.
His son throws him the other power up, and it's like,
Yeah. The sonic mushroom.
yeah, pretty much. So, yeah.
But not once. Like, it wasn't enough. So he has to go and... It felt like a weird moment when he had to go and pick it up again and throw it again. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
Redo.
That's a double power up.
Redo.
Double power up. You know, Michael didn't need that. Michael was able to stretch his arm
Just saying.
all the way across
Yeah.
half court and put it in.
I thought they were going to make him do the pose for a second, too. Because he almost started to do the Michael
Yeah.
Jordan pose. And it was like, oh, no, we can't go that far with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after all that bullshit, you know, the Toon Squad ends up winning. Algie is magically gone. They all end up going back, and it made no sense.
No, it did not.
None of it made sense. Like, why did Algie have to do any of that? I mean, he had complete control. He sucked everybody in there. He wasn't. He even admitted he was changing all the rules on the fly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it made
Didn't have to happen. And then
none
on
of
top
the movie
of it,
had to happen. None of it made any sense.
apparently Bugs Bunny goes to heaven. Because that's what I thought. He turned into an angel at the end. Or at least it looked like it.
Yeah,
And that was the one, I'll say it was just like a half ounce of emotion that I maybe felt for a second. Because it's Bugs Bunny. It's from my childhood.
I didn't have a shred of it.
It was there.
I didn't have a shred because I'm like, he's a Toon.
Deep down it was there. But I was like, well, he's not gone.
He's a Toon. Toons can't die unless you have dip.
Yep.
If Roger Rabbit taught us anything. So they all end up back in the IRL, in the real world. LeBron learned a valuable life lesson to listen to his son, ends up letting him go to E3 camp so he can design his game and hopefully not go work for Blizzard where they sexually abuse people.
I mean, because this day and age video game, I almost tried to gloss over that, but that was great.
Yeah.
This day and age video games is a poor people's game, of course. There's no future in video games. How could there be? You can't get a console to save your fucking life, but video games, my boy ain't doing that. But now he finally learns, like, okay, you can go to camp, son.
Well, it finally dawned on him, like, I am a billionaire. My son can do whatever the hell he wants.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah. So, and then at the end, the very end of the movie, Bugs Bunny, with no warning, just magically appears. But now he's in the real world.
What's up, Ron?
So why can all of a sudden he appear in the real world?
Was it a glitch? I think it was a glitch.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but they never really
explain it.
They never
No.
really explain that. And then Bugs kind of mentions too. He alludes that the other Looney Tunes are now also in the real world somehow, which they never really explain. And then in the credits, you see them kind of like appearing all over the world with other celebrities.
So I have a connection, and I heard of a leak for a sequel to the Space Jam.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is the real Don Cheadle is going to try and take over the world in his actual Warhammer costume. And they're going to have to play a tournament of NBA Jams, the reboot,
Okay.
to send the Toons back to their world.
Like it.
Yeah. Yep.
So
That's where we're going with this.
that ends the Space Jam New Legacy. Hopefully, it ends it
Forever.
permanently. Hopefully, they should have called it the Dead Legacy, the Ruin the Legacy.
The legacy that never was, maybe.
And, dude, this film, man, this was a
think
tough.
we said
This was
it
a
all.
tough one for me
Yeah.
to get through.
Okay, let me just be straightforward about this, too. I love the original Space Jam, but
yeah.
it by no means is a masterpiece
Oh,
of
God,
a film.
no. God,
so when we compare the two, don't think we're throwing out that this is a 100 film. Like, you know?
The problem is, and I'm glad you brought that up, like the original Space Jam, especially some of us, if you haven't seen it since you've been much younger,
Yeah.
take the rose-colored glasses off, watch it again, you'll realize that That movie had its problems too.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would still, even by today's standards, I'd still give it a solid 7,
Yeah,
7.5
for sure.
out of 10.
I mean, it just had some kind of magic to it, you know?
Compared to this, though, it's Citizen Kane.
The Shawshank Redemption type quality, you know?
Yeah. So, oh man,
It's
we do need to give this random
it
review
was
scores.
something. It was something, and it had a few moments, but I can't count them on my hands because I don't have that little fingers.
My small hand.
If I had my small hand, child. Yeah, so we can score this, I guess.
Let's score it. I'm gonna let you go first. I think I went first last time.
Oh shit! This is a tough one for me.
So on a 0 to 10,
0 to 10 basketballs out of. There was none in this. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. The Easter eggs were. So I'm gonna try and be as positive as I can because I don't want to give it a 0 because some of the Easter eggs were cool even if they didn't use them well. Some of the shit they incorporated was okay even though it wasn't used well. I hate LeBron James. Nothing was good about him or his son. They both suck. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm going to give it a 3 to be fair. And that's being very fair.
that's by far, I think that
It's
might be the
probably-
lowest.
Yeah.
I think that's the lowest score we've ever given
I
out
could not rate this better than
on this
any other
podcast.
Fandom Failure.
Because New Mutants still had some redeemable shit.
Something. Yeah.
So I'm with you.
Something on the wing.
My only redeemable thing in this film was the fact that my son did enjoy it.
Right.
I watched it with my 5-year-old son. He liked it. So, I mean, that counts for something. That gets you a point.
Yeah.
That at least gets you up to a 1. And then, like Brian mentioned, I mean, I don't know. There was... Looking back at this again and really thinking about it, there is not much redeeming shit in this
Really,
film.
there really
It is
isn't.
literally a glorified WB commercial. I hated it. They could have done so much more with the property. I would have liked it so much more if, even if they didn't stick with basketball, maybe move to like a different sport.
Definitely.
Maybe move to a different, I don't know. Dude,
They could have done something. I mean, they could have done, like, field hockey. Or, or I don't know, shot put. And it would have been better than what we got.
Welcome to the Shot Put Jam. I gotta score this.
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10.
Okay, still fair.
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. So, like you said, my son enjoyed it, so I can't give it a 0.
Yeah.
I hated it. I really did hate this film,
Did not like it.
and I can't say that about many films I've seen recently. And I more just hated the presentation and overall just what the film was at its core.
Yeah.
And it was literally just marketing WB shit.
Absolutely.
That was it. The plot was shit. The acting was shit. The special effects, for the most part, were not good. They have WB. Don't get me wrong. They do have amazing properties. They did not use them.
What they do with those
correctly at all.
properties is a whole different story. But yeah, this can actually sum up what's wrong with WB at the moment in one movie. It's all about promotion and making money and making sure everybody sees WB everywhere. You know?
I equate it to it's the Marvel effect.
Yeah.
You're seeing this in a lot.
Oh,
of,
yeah,
You're seeing this in
absolutely.
a lot of other things now, where everything has to be all inclusive, crossovers everywhere. You know, all of your properties that you have, you got to tie them in.
Yep.
You know, because that's what people want to see. You got to hit the nostalgia button.
Here's the thing, though. It's been overdone. We don't want to see it anymore.
You know,
everyone's over it.
I would have much rather this movie would have been so much better served if, instead of, you know, focusing on, you know, things like, again, like Game of Thrones, The Matrix, these things, like maybe spend a minute amount of time, but do more of a laser focus on things like you mentioned, DC.
Yeah.
You could have spent a lot more time in the DC universe, branched that out a bit more. You know, that could have been pretty cool.
Shit, even if
Harry Potter.
Yeah, even if we got some live action like Gal Gadot or Henry Cavill, like a quick Easter egg from one of them. Like you said, just open up the universes that were big and that they could have used to a better effect, then yeah, it would have worked better for them. Instead of trying to force every little property they have in this universe.
Yeah, so
yeah, that was a tough one.
this was a tough one.
I would, if let's put it this way, if we weren't doing a Fandom Failure on it, I would have shut it off. I wouldn't have even finished it.
Yeah, but you know, that's part of what we do for you, randos.
We do it for you.
We watched even the shitty content to bring you this shitty content.
So be appreciative. Give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
At fandom@random.com.
Yes, sir.
Well, randos, we are out. We will be back next week. We've got a bunch of great shit on the horizon.
And remember, we care about our loved ones.
Oh, I just need to wipe this film from my memory. I really do.
I feel dirty.
Alcohol will help.
Yeah.
Later, randos.
Later.